Want to shave 15 minutes off your next road trip? The BYD Sealion 7's charging graph from EVKX shows exactly where to stop and where extra minutes cost you big time. I pulled the Sealion 7 excellent charging curve straight from the EVKX and broke down every spike, plateau, and sudden throttle. You'll get the exact numbers, peak kilowatt, average kilowatt window, C ratings, and the one state of charge range where this car drinks the most power. By the end, you'll know where the sweet spot is for the fastest fills and why the charger suddenly slows at higher state of charge. All charts and figures below come from the EVK's page for the Sealion 7 Excellence. Top line facts first. The Sealion 7 Excellence lists a 93 kWh blade pack, 569 volt architecture, and a peak DC speed of 230 kilowatts. EVKX computes average metrics like 10 to 80% average power of 163.5 kilowatts, 10 to 80% time in 23 minutes 20 seconds, and the optimum charging zone flagged as 8% to 73% state of charge. They are the numbers that shape practical charging decisions. Looking at the raw curve details and you see the story. The car's peak power sits around 229 to 230 kilowatts, roughly 20% to 33% state of charge, holding extremely high power for many consecutive percentage points. That point corresponds to the site's reported max C rating of 2.4 C rate multiply 246 by 93 kilowatt hour pack and you get roughly 229 kilowatt. So the math matches the physical limit. The average C rating of 1.67 C aligns with the sustained 150 to 165 kilowatt window you see through the most of the mid-state of charge range. The detailed state of charge table shows a rapid ramp. Early on, 0 to 9% speeds are modest, 78 to 156 kilowatts. Then at 10%, the curve jumps to 220 kilowatt and stays near 229 kilowatt across the 20 to 33% band. From 33% onward, there is a gentle taper about 208 to 180 kilowatts through the mid-30s to the mid-40s. Then a lower plateau near 150 to 156 kilowatt from roughly 59% to 73%. At 74% state of charge, there's a clear step down to 108 kilowatt, and after 80%, the curve drops fast into the 60 to 100 kilowatt range and then into tens of kilowatt approaching 100%. That abrupt fill-off at 74% is the key practical breakpoint. Why that step at 74%? Graphs like this reflect both cell voltage limits and BMS strategy. As state of charge rises, cell voltage climbs, and the pack hits safe voltage or thermal thresholds, the BMS reduces current. This current reduction is to avoid overvoltage and to keep cell heat in check. The Sealion designers appear to allow a long high-power plateau up to the low 70s state of charge, then cut hard, a deliberate trade-off to maximize fast energy transfer while limiting long-term stress. The EVKX optimum zone, 8% to 73%, echoes this. Stop near 73% if you want the fastest, most energy-efficient fill. Crunching the session math. The graph shows adding 63.9 kWh between 10 to 80% in 23 minutes, which is an average of 163.5 kilowatts. Data shows adding 63.9 kWh between 10 to 80% in 23 minutes, which is an average of 163.5 kilowatts. That's real-world sustained energy transfer, not just a peak blip. That is why 10 to 80% takes only about 23 to 24 minutes on a capable charger. If you need range, EVKX also converts that to range added per minute. Depending on driving cycle, the 10 to 80% window shows roughly 15 kilometers per minute, which is equivalent under their assumptions. It's a massive number because the charger is delivering 2.7 kWh per minute on average. Translated into practical planning, a 10-minute high-power top-up into the optimum window adds very significant range. A few interesting quirks in the table are worth flagging. The very low state of charge region of 0 to 4% starts at only 78 to 130 kilowatts before the charger controls ramps more aggressive after 5 to 10%. That can be due to preconditioning behavior, pack safety at extreme low state of charge, or measurement resolutions. And the dip from 163 kilowatt average to 108 kilowatt at the 74% is steep. It's not a gentle taper. Practically, that means pushing past 73% will cost you disproportionately more time per kilowatt hour. So the optimum speed of 140 kilowatt, optimum time of 25 minutes seems to identify a user-friendly point. You can balance time versus added range by aiming for that optimal trade-off. So what's the everyday problem? Drivers see a headline like 230 kilowatt capable and assume 10-minute top-up will always be fast. Reality is that the charger and the car are married to battery chemistry and BMS limits. That 230 kilowatt ceiling is only useful if you arrive in the right time, meaning you have the right state of charge and the right battery, meaning you have the right state of charge and the battery is at the right temperature. Outside the 8 to 73% optimal window, the effective charging speed drops and your time per kilowatt hour rises sharply. The curve makes this crystal clear. After 73%, you're paying a heavy time penalty for each extra percentage. So what should the drivers actually do with this graph? Treat 10 to 80% as the realistic fast fill target for road trips. That window adds 63.9 kilowatt hour in 23.5 minutes. Close to advertised fast charge experience for modern high power EVs. Stopping here gets you the most energy per minute. Aim to arrive at the charger around 10 to 30% state of charge when possible. The peak plateau is strongest from 20 to 33%, which is near to 229 kilowatts. If you roll in at 50%, you still get good power, but you miss the absolute peak. Avoid chasing the last 10 to 20% at DC fast charger. The data shows the power drops into the tens of kilowatt past 90%. That final juice is slow and expensive in time. Top off to 80% at the fast charger and finish at home if you can. You need to always watch out for temperature. Data flags temperature as a key factor. If the battery is cold, the car will limit the power early, and if it's hot, the BMS will throttle. Preconditioning en route to the charger will improve how closely you get and match to the ideal curve. Here's the single most useful rule you can take from those graphs. The Sealion 7 sweet spot is roughly 10 to 70% state of charge, with a practical 10 to 80% fill giving the fastest trade-offs between time and added range. You can plan your stops to capture the broad 20 to 70% plateau. That's where this car converts grid power to range most efficiently. Deviate from that and you'll be waiting a lot longer for fewer kilometers. EVKX charging curve for the BYD Sealion 7 Excellence shows a modern fast charging strategy. Big peak power around 229 to 230 kilowatt, which is around a 2.46 C on a 93 kilowatt hour pack, and a long sustained mid state of charge plateau that gives 163 kilowatt average for a 10 to 80% charge. Then an abrupt throttle around 73 to 74% and a steep taper thereafter. In plain English, charge hard from low to mid state of charge, stop before the hard drop, and save time. Use these numbers to plan real stops. They are the difference between frictionless road trips and wasted minutes at the road.